Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back. So we have a little update on the Norfolk Southern K5LA, the 90s Tagless. Um, so you guys can see I took the bells off the manifold. I have not opened up the back caps yet, but I have checked to see if I could loosen all the back cap bolts, and I can. A lot of paint on them, so I kind of had to hammer the socket on every single one of them to get the kind of cut through that paint. And good news is no broken bolts. Um, all the foot bolts came out really nice. The back cap bolts all came loose, so that saves me a lot of hassle. Now I just gotta hope that I don't have any issues with any of the diffuser ring bolts. Um, I am still going to do a pre-restoration sound test, so that way we can all hear what it sounds like pre-restoration. Before I open up the back caps, I have not opened up the back caps yet. I wanted to save that for a video so that way we can both discover what's going on in there together. The 5 bell, I'm gonna try not to touch this stuff. Some of you that have me on Messenger and Snapchat, you saw my hands, just how dirty they were. This thing is filthy. So I'm gonna try not to touch anything, but in typical 90s fashion there, they did not run, initially when this horn would have been produced, they did not have any washers with the bolts, and some of the bolts received washers, some didn't, throughout its life. And the 5 bell really got a nice little ring dug down into it from the bolts. And so when I put this back on for testing, I'm going to use washers. I got some just generic grade 5 washers that I'm going to throw on the bolts, and I'm just going to use grade 5 bolts just to get the bells back on the manifold for the actual sound test of it. But I just kind of want to eliminate any of the bolts getting stuck on any of that. And so something that was brought up by one of you last time that commented, Nate, on whether or not it was a Graham White rebuild. It was, because I found this underneath the soot. You guys could see I wiped away the soot, and this was the sticker underneath it. So they got all their without touching it, they got all their information there, and then at the bottom it's got the GW for Graham White. So that's really cool. I've had Wabtec rebuilds and I've had Air Chime rebuilds, but I've never had a Graham White rebuild before, so that's kind of neat. I don't know if that sticker is going to survive the cleaning process or not. And depending on how long it's been on there, I don't know if I can safely remove it and get it back on. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. If I can't save it, I can't save it. But I got pictures and video to document that it had a sticker. Let's see what else. So the manifold, really clean. Of course, the bolt holes are not clean, but the internal air passageway is really clean. So you guys can kind of see how the spots where the feet of the bells sit on there. You guys can see a really clean ring around where the foot gasket gets a good seal, and on that side. But on this side, you guys can see it's a whole nother story, where you guys can see really clear the foot gasket where it was making contact, and then the rest of the bell wasn't really tight down. That's where the 5 bell was, and with that bolt that was loose, it allowed the bell to kind of basically disengage itself from the manifold enough to where it got a lot of soot in there. Not a big deal. It'll all clean up really nice. Other than that, we have the original foot bolts over here. You guys can see some of them. Some of them have washers, lock washers, some of them don't. I believe the rusty one is a grade 5. Some of them are stainless, some of them are grade 5. And I'm guessing a lot of that, along with the lock washers, came around in the Graham White rebuild. Other than that, excited to hear it. I don't expect it to sound good. Something I can't show you right now is the looking down the bells at the diaphragms. The 4 and 5 diaphragms are completely sooted over down in the side of the bell. I didn't see anything that was broken, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing broken. It could be, I might have broken diaphragms in a different spot. They could be the back diaphragms, or I might not have any broken diaphragms. I won't know until I open up the back caps, but I'm going to get the bells back on the manifold. I'm going to just put them back on in a normal arrangement for the sound test. I'm just going to use some of these regular grade 5 stuff that I use for just kind of slapping horns together just to get some sound testing and stuff like that. I will clean up the original ones. I'll run dyes on the threads and probably replace or put on some missing lock washers. But the 5 bell, I'm going to, with how deep that wear mark is, I don't know how it's gonna work with a lock washer. I'm gonna try it with a lock washer, but if it's still too deep, I'll just wind up having to use one of these washers over here just to kind of bridge that back up. But either way, I do plan on utilizing all the original bolts, or at least the ones that came on the horn. All the back cap bolts appear to be original. They're all flange bolts. They're inch-long bolts, so they stick through. They don't sit flush like the some of the other ones. Same thing with some of the diffuser ring bolts. We kind of touched on that. Some of the diffuser ring bolts are the older type that stick through, the inch-long ones. Some of them are the more flush ones. So I'm kind of interested to see what it looks like on the insides, because even the inlets are really clean. At least the bottoms are. I don't know how the internal inlet is in the power chamber yet. So with it being 90s, everything except for the 5 has a big inlet. All that good old 90s stuff. So yeah, just figured I'd give you guys a little update. Was really happy that none of the bolts broke. I was kind of worried about that because I've had raised letter stuff that had bolts break on it, so it's always kind of a crapshoot. And the older the horn gets, sometimes the worse it can be. So probably helped me out a little bit that this thing had a rebuild at some point, because that means everything was opened up and worked on. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, guys, so here's just a little update on everything. No broken bolts, so far we're doing pretty good. I'm gonna retighten all these bolts and put the bells back on the manifold, and I'm hoping tomorrow morning I can get a sound clip in the garage before it gets too hot. I don't want my compressor running when it gets too hot out there, so try to get one in the morning, do a nice sound clip, see what we're working with. Like I said, I'm not expecting it to sound good, just with how dirty it is, how some of the diaphragms look, just looking down the throats of the bells. Everything's looking a little rough, and I'm sure this horn is, even after the rebuild, I'm sure this horn's seen a lot of miles. So hopefully we can make it a really nice sounding horn. If it doesn't sound nice already, but we'll see. Like I said, I'm not holding my breath. Normally the first sound test is never the greatest sounding, but we'll see. So hope you guys enjoyed the update on this, and hopefully I'll have some more videos coming your way tomorrow on this horn. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and thank you for the support, and until next time, take care.